Oh, good.
Yeah, once the knee joints go completely, I get those.
Oh, good. Good.
They're on their way.
See, for the longest time, I wanted to get rid of one leg so I could have a peg leg. I've always wanted a peg leg, so I could have like secret compartments and things like that, and flexi dagger blade in the heel and stuff like that. Or you're bouting and you have the Velcro straps. So, somebody hits you and you twist the right way and the leg falls out. I'm like, oh my God! You fall over. Do things like that. And you can play jokes on people. I have to admit, I've had merciless fun on other people's expense. My favorite was fake leg. What? Boom. I'm going down. I just screamed fake leg. They hit me in the leg. I drop. As I'm going down, I go fake leg. What? Boom. Or the all-time classic at a party. Drank a bottle of wood shot. I'm a teetotaler, so I did this. If I concentrate, I can walk straight. I can look like everybody else when I walk. And so I walked past a friend of mine who's known me for years, and I said, boy, if I knew drinking would straighten this out, I would have done it a long time ago. He just basically snarked it right out of his nose. Anyhow, now, this relates to ground fighting in a very interesting way, because you're trying to, when you drop to your knees, you're stretching these muscles. Now, if you haven't stretched out prior, like I haven't, so, I'm feeling real tight, and that little drop to my knees was enough for me. You find that the backs of your legs are tight, your calves are tight, and all your concentration goes to, God, this hurts. I don't want to be here. And you're, reference the previous class, if you're not thinking about what you should be thinking about, you're thinking about the fact your legs hurt. So, how do you fix that? I'll be quite honest, I got sick and tired of dying, so I just tried not to get leg. Great tactic. Real choice tactic. Worked like
Let alone.
yeah, you can figure out, take your analogy of choice. In other words, it didn't work at all. Diego? So, I actually, one day, was at Penza watching his ilk, the Ansteorran, with their ground fighting, and they sat. One guy gets light and he just does this. Come on. Come on. Come get it. Now, this was pretty cool, and I absorbed it and used it for a while, and it was pretty good. But, it still had some fundamental problems. Would you say I had a personality conflict for just sitting here? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, now, this was pretty cool. And then one day, I had a friend, and this is, he's a praying mantis stylist. Studies praying mantis kung fu. He got mugged. Whacked right in the back of the head. Dropped like a stone and did this. Sat there. Guy came at him, kicked him in the knee. Guy came at him again, kicked him in the knee. Came at him again, kicked him in the knee. Are we done yet? So, that's pretty aggressive for what is considered a passive stance or a detriment. Well, one day I got sick of dying. I just got sick of it. Come get it. Go to it. Take yourself to the fight. Very mobile. If you're on the ground, you don't have to be done. Put the legs behind you, put them in front of you, it doesn't matter. Be able to move. You can fight from here if you have to. Your vital organs are here. Your killing blows are all from here up. They have to reach. If you do this right, they have to really reach. And remember what I said earlier about the guy where I walked into his kick? He said, I just stuck it out there. One of the most satisfying feelings in the world is, boom! Yeah, because they're throwing to get you. They've got to reach to get you. And this is, one. See, you've got everything from their thigh up to their face. Usually people lead with their head when they're really trying to reach. They don't realize it, but they do it. And, the thing you do have to be careful about is, some people lead with their groin. Don't come with it. It's a legal target, but, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Especially in the parking lot with a crowbar. You don't want that to happen. Be careful. But you have to, these are the positions. Back, low, lower, forward, down. Now, how to apply them is a different beast entirely. You have to read your opponent. You have to look at him and see what he's doing. Now, this gentleman here is a sniper and a taunter. No offense. He will sit there. He will sit there and he will taunt you and he will snipe you. If you leave something open, he's like a cat with a mouse. Okay, I am now bored. Suddenly your arm is gone. We've had many discussions of you did that yourself. So some stances or positions won't work very well. You have to pick and choose. Like personally, against Diego and snipers, I should lean back. I should go into the more relaxed, low guard. Blade out, legs tucked, cover my belly somewhat, bend them up. You've already lost the leg. You can lose the other one, no serious detriment. It's not like you're going to run away or anything like that anytime soon. So, you just kind of curl up and use him as target. And as he throws, pop in.
Question.
Yes?
Once you put a leg, is it legally use legs?
Well, you can't move them. But you can...
So you move around behind them.
Like, when I say guard your belly, I mean like this. I mean, set it down. My stomach's here. I can put my stomach behind my leg. I'm not moving. If I want to do it the other way, I put them behind me, tuck down, I use the telescoping effect of the rib cage for glance, to try to get glancing shots, to try to channel them down the ground, you can drop. So you can use your body. My arm is still good. I'll come get you. And the nice thing is, the first couple of times you do this, you will scare, shock, and amaze people. You can. I guess you can. Or that's just too weird. And that's the kind of thing you want. You can throw them off their center. That's all this is. I'm not using my legs. Now, granted, I've pulled myself around for the first years of my life this way. So I've got a little bit of advantage. But you can adjust your position. You don't have to be a static target. You can bob and weave. You can fence pretty much the same way, in the same manner that you fence with the legs. To lose the legs is not necessarily a detriment. If you think of it as a detriment, you're going to be done pretty darn quick. Because you're going to be thinking, oh, God, I'm down a leg. Here I am. They're going to come get me. They have both their feet. Yes, they do, and that's their disadvantage. You are 3, 4, maybe, or more feet lower than them. Their whole target area is above you. Everything you want is just reach out and pluck it. Reach out and pluck it. If they're smart, they'll stay out of range and snipe. If they're dumb, they won't. They'll lean over. They'll step in. They'll throw a flurry. And usually with a ground game, if you can block the first flurry, or if you can void the first flurry, and believe me, you can avoid them, which is just move out of the way. Don't let your head be where they want it. You've got an advantage at this point because they have put themselves into your kill zone. And with a blade, from this stance, there's my kill zone. I can pop up, I can extend a little more, but anything in here is in jeopardy of going away. As I stated earlier, any martial art is just convincing your opponent that what they're doing is a really bad idea. Hopefully you convince them in the final manner, which is, oh, that was really thud. But you can also adjust your kill zone by adjusting your body. And you can move it back and forth. Now, ground fighting, what I have found, involves a lot more body movement than standing up. Because you can actually duck a shot. You can actually move back. Your parries are there, yes, your parries are important, but being able to get your body out of the danger spot, be able to shift things like that. Very, very important. I would say they're a principal part of a ground game. As is the next step, which is timing. You can have the best this, the best that in the world, the best thrust, the best legs, the best arms, the best attitude. You can't time, you don't have a thing. Because you have to be able to throw that shot when it needs to be thrown, how it needs to be thrown. So say, you stand up, Lord, if I'm fighting him, go into the Garden States. If I'm fighting him and he steps forward, go ahead. I want to be able to throw that at the right time. Okay, go in your guard again. If I think he's going to go and I throw my shot too soon, I've given him my range. I've even pulled myself up a bit, and I've done it for naught. He can catch me, step in, and thud. Timing is of the essence. If you cannot time, you cannot fight. And with a ground game especially, because, you are less mobile, by the nature of it. You have a different range of mobility, but you are less mobile for getting out. You're a little slower, and slow as butt as they are on their feet, but you have to be able to time it. And that's I would say one of the principal parts of it is timing. Courtesy-wise, just as a side note, you've lost a leg. If you lose the arm, you can't pull yourself by it. Now you're in trouble. This is your mobility system now. This becomes your foot, so protect it. Treat it as if it is all that stands between you and oblivion. But if you lose it, don't continue to drag yourself on it. And don't push with your legs. You can push with your good leg, if you have a good leg. But, there is a point where your brain should say, this is dumb. I think I'm done now. I have whittled away to a stump. I think I am going to just stop trying to bite the guy's knees off and call it a day. But until that point, yeehaw, and go. To reiterate, principal parts of the ground game. Body mobility, awareness, so that you can effectively use your body with hand, timing, knowing your range, being able to adjust your range, it's all important things. You can also, and when I say adjust your range, neat thing, people forget when the shoulder will roll out. Try to get a little closer. If you have to do a couple of indications with a wide sweep, like, whoa! They see the big, juicy target that is your chest, belly, face come in. Be able to trigger. When you lose your legs, you gotta think sneaky. You gotta think devious. Your opponent's just gonna try to snuff you. It's up to you to make it extremely difficult. You gotta, as I've stated before, pick the ground that you're going to kill him on, leave him there and do it. You have to choose the manner of the fight, which is why I turn to this, because I don't like to wait. I'm very much an aggressive person. I have a little problem sitting there. So that's why I do this. Sometimes it gets the better of me and I do it against the wrong person. Sometimes I do it against the right person. It's a learning process. When you're fighting, pay attention. Keep in the back of your mind what's going on. You'll be able to do a lot of amazing things. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you really don't want to do this stuff, you don't want to play a long game, or a short game, if you're going beyond your knees, stretch, get solid, and bend. Because you can almost, with most people I've encountered, you can almost turn on a stopwatch. Just click it on, they'll be done soon. is the tension in your legs will distract your attention straight down. A lot of times what I've found is that guarding up a bit helps if you're on your knees. Guarding up because they're coming down into you. Try to channel them off and stop them as fast as you can. You know, if you have to trick them into thinking that you're in a really, really, really weak spot, more so than you are, to draw them in, that's always a good thing. But you have to know the parameters of what you're doing. There's a type of sparring, these gentlemen have heard it, you haven't, which is one-shot sparring, where you practice, it's situational, you practice the same situation over and over again. Usually, I do 10 reps when I do it. I have friends who do it into the ground, where they find out all the parameters. But you have to know those parameters in order to effectively fight from any stance, whether it's on the ground or whether it's standing. But since this is ground fighting, I will stress knowing the parameters for ground fighting. Know your opponent, read your opponent, look at your opponent. Make your decisions and execute. 20 after.
Take it up.
I just blew through an hourglass in 20 minutes. I'm talking too fast. Does anybody have any questions about anything at this time? Anything at all? Anything they'd like to add? Any observations? Those are about observation additions are the best part because, you know, like I said, I don't have all the answers. I don't think any of you have all the answers, but between us, we can probably come up with something that's like an answer. I don't know if you have a question. Yes.
Just to discuss finer finesse points about two different things we're talking about there. One with your legs backwards, facing that way, you were able to, use your chest, to help your flanking. But you're doing exactly what you said not to do with the other position, and that's putting that arm forward.
Yeah. the difference being is that no system is perfect, and sometimes you've got to make that choice. If you think you can protect that hand, do so. But if you're protecting the hand, at the cost of its primary use, there's no point protecting it. When I refer to protecting it, if you're in a back stance, if you're back here, and you're planning to go aggressive, you protect this hand. But if you're going to come around, use this for all it's worth, because that's why you saved it. Like I said, nothing's perfect. And, it's a series of give and take. You might get that arm, but if you get that arm, you really got to work for it. So that's probably what's going to be to get if you're concentrating. If you realize, if you stick this out like a big neon target saying, this is what's moving me around, people are going to go for it. And as they go for it, you take what they can't lose, their life. You can afford to lose the arm if they lose the leg. You can't necessarily afford to lose the arm if they lose the leg or if they lose their other arm, but you can definitely afford to lose the arm if they lose the leg. Toss a coin. If you think it's worth it, go for it. If you don't think it's worth it, hold back. But the other thing about protecting this arm is if you're playing a long game, as I call this, a long game, this is, in a sense, also your mobility system, because I can shift on it. If I lose that arm, I can't really shift on it anymore. I'm kind of stuck here or here. If both shoulders hit the ground, you're done. One shoulder hits the ground, you're okay. It is written, it's actually in the heavy rules, and the deferment for fencing is the heavy rules. It's not written there. And, not all marshals may understand that if one shoulder can't hit, both cannot. The fight is over if your back hits the ground. Right? Now, when I said that, you mentioned also the deflection with your chest. That is based off of an Italian stance called Venetian. Because what this does is it telescopes your rib cage. If all your vital organs are down here, you've got to guard your head. You can shift out, turn out of thrusts if you're good at it. If you're not good at it, you're jailbait.
My only problem with that back stance on the ground there is going too far back because the way my shoulders are as injured as my legs. So if I go too far in one direction back this way, the whole shoulder's just going to go out and come up.
Yeah. Well, another caveat to this, a caveat to a ground game. I developed this ground game because I wanted, I found myself on my knees a lot, on the ground a lot, and I wanted something to overcome the detriment. And, my legs are not my detriment when I'm moving. It's when I'm still the real detriment. They're tight. And so I had to overcome that. So you have to look at your individual needs, wants, desires, whatever, and say, okay, this is what I got to work with. This is how many bricks I've got. This is how much cement I've got. What can I build? You may not be able to build the Leaning Tower of Pisa. You may not be able to build the Arch of Triumph or Great Pyramid. You might be able to build a nice solid brick house for yourself. When the wolf comes to blow it down, you've still got a brick house, and the wolf is going to have to see it. So you have to work within the parameters that you're given. And to be honest with you, you can blow beyond your own personal parameters. You can expand beyond what you're given by just working with a tool. I think it was William Blake who said, the strongest chains to break are the ones who forge with their own minds. Well, if you say it's a detriment, it's a detriment. If you say it's a parameter, well, that's a whole different ball of wax. Like this ground fighting is working with your own parameter, not with a detriment. The detriment is something that you carry with you all the time. The detriment is something that limits you. A parameter is something that is an edge of the envelope. A parameter you can expand or contract as needed. So you have to work within if your shoulders are messed up, go more solid. Elbow. Elbow is the strongest bone in your body. That's why they teach elbow strikes. That's why somebody's jaw will go when you hit him in the jaw with the elbow, because this thing is supported by all of this stuff.
Straight line back.
Oh yeah. So if you need a more solid earth-based stance, you missed the previous guys where we went through these mindsets.
Got here later.
Yeah.
I wanted to get here.
Earth is solid. I ain't moving. You come get it. I'm going to grind you down. It's like fighting a rock. Well,
Well, martial artists use that. I mean, the ground is very important in martial arts.
But especially making them meet it real fast and high velocity.
But it's also good as a foundation, and it can actually help you provide power and strikes by using the ground, which is what makes it an interesting thing for heavy fighting and fencing both, because it translates very well.
Yeah.
But like I said, from certain positions, certain people have different problems. You know this as well as I, because you have handicaps as well. Does anyone know, as a matter of curiosity, whether or not fighting that same way, the ground techniques you're just talking are legal with heavy combat? Because if they are, that would translate so well.
Keep up your step. He is neither on the sea nor Ansteorran. He is the most unusual knight you will ever see in Retained Field.
Oh, I've been in.
Yeah.
I know enough of legging.
And the second lesson everyone learns is don't leg him.
No legging.
The first lesson is don't pity.
No.
He got the belt 11 years after he lost the leg.
Yeah, and he earned it every bit of the way.
He goes down on his leg. Okay, you just made an immovable battle station.
I fought him like 3 times, and the first thing was I made that stupid assumption of, okay, I've already got one advantage. He's missing a leg. Oh.
Always the first.
He can fire under the stump.
He does.
I know.
That's his trick shot because nobody's expecting it.
Well, whose leg? There's usually a leg there.
Right. Exactly. How are you going to block for something that you will never, ever encounter? Wait a second.
He's the only one you'll ever see it out of.
Yes.
The other one is when he fights from the ground, it's a counterweight. His,
Oh, yeah.
his good leg is coming. It holds the rest of them up.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch him. It really is. So that's why I was asking: is it legal? Like we were talking the backwards. Would that be?
Keith uses that same technique, only with his other leg, his good leg, all folded up and counterbalancing. He can go from
Wow.
his shoulders, both of his shoulders, an inch off the ground, snapshot, and right back, and they never touch the ground.
I would take
Yeah, he launches.
that would be legal.
Okay.
Yeah. We measured that inch.
I've tried to apply this to heavy. I haven't been able to get it to work because my back isn't strong enough yet. There are exercises that I have to do to strengthen my back, which is namely getting a bench, laying on the bench at the hip, having somebody sit on my legs and start counting.
Right.
Touch nose to floor, up, nose floor, up.
I understand. When I was in the service, I wrecked my legs, I broke my back, and well, I jumped out of airplanes. You can figure it out.
Yeah.
I just a few too many bad landings, and that was that. So now that I've picked up heavy fighting again, I've got to re-exercise a lot of old injuries. My knee being the primary problem. My back can take a lot, except for certain twists. Certain twists, you got to be careful of my shoulders. Exercises to strengthen the rotator cuff muscles, and that's about it. The knees are my worst problem.
Yeah, the ground fighting stuff for fencing and probably heavy would be very good for you. If your knees are a problem. And since we're all Scadians, we will eventually have that knee.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, tell me yours.
Mine's up. That's why I have that.
I think everybody's that fights for very long suck.
Oh yeah, it's up.
Well, wait. You think it's bad now? Wait. and none of us are joking. If you think it's bad now, if you fight for long at all, wait, because it's hard on the knees. For one thing, you're constantly carrying more weight than you were designed to carry. Obviously, and you're carrying it on you. You're running and stopping and moving in directions that serious athletes train for years. And most of us neglect to do that serious training that you really should do before we do things like this.
Oh, yeah.
And on top of all that, you're getting pounded. People land on your knees. You land on your knees. People just whack at your knees.
That's no problem.
Wait.
I mean, you have a 350-pound kid trying to clip.
No, it's not a 350-pound kid that gets you that will wipe your knee out.
No.
You know what's going to happen? How much do you weigh?
Wait, 175.
It's going to be that 175-pound kid who throws a shot and missteps.
Missteps, twists.
Yeah.
That's
No, it's going to have about 150
No.
pounds on my shoulder.
No, it's going to be you.
No. You're going to be the one misstepping. You're going to take a step the wrong way. Your foot's going to land bad because of the terrain, whatever the problem may be. You're already going to be halfway through the throw, so the weight's going to carry you whether you want it to or not. Your knee's going to go.
A friend of mine throws a zero-range crescent kick. He gets up close, chambers up, rolls the sucker out. And every time he does that, pop it right up.
I have a question.
Sure.
How do you use your ground game when you're using multiple weapons?
Yeah, thank you. That was another one of my
Ground
questions.
game with multiple weapons. Okay, at that point you've got a choice, and it's a gamble.
Give up a weapon? What?
Give up a weapon.
Actually, finish my question.
Okay. For multiple weapons,
Ooh, it's pretty.
snap, fighting dagger, sword and dagger. And I lose my leg. Boom. I'm down. Okay. I can do this. I can use the window washer bit here. But an unfortunate thing about this is the range is awful short, and a lot of times by the time you make contact, the momentum of the shot is going to carry it right through. When I've tried to use multiple weapon forms, I find myself sitting up a bit more. At that point, it's try to profile your body, tuck your elbow so it's in the way of your side, get this here, and play as if you like you would if you were on your knees. What I found most advantageous, keep it there, you might need it. No? You might need it.
Don't get rid of it entirely.
Yeah. Keep
Are
it.
you allowed to regain a...
Yeah. I put it down.
He hasn't thrown it. He's placed it.
Correct. So that's my question. Is it
Yeah.
legal to retrieve it once you place
Oh,
it?
yes.
No, one of the cool things,
See, I'm also trying to get that Martian.
one of the cool things is lock. Stuff. You can even, you don't have to put it out there. You can put it here. You can have it nearby. If you need to move, you can move with it. Personally, I just leave it. I have not found a need to have it. But that is probably more attitudinal than anything else.
Wouldn't it be wise to keep it just for that one occasion where you actually fight?
You never know. I'm of the opinion that any weapon can fight any other weapon at any given time in any situation if you're any good at it. Saint-Didier, the French fencing master from the late 16th century, who wrote a treatise for either Henry IV or Louis XIII, said that single is the mother of all forms, and that's what his book was. You have good single, you've got good other stuff.
However,
Feel free.
which doesn't fit in with European style fencing, but Sashi says if you have two weapons, you're fighting yourself if you're not using them. Like different styles.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. Musashi was an interesting case because he was in all 65 bouts he fought, 65 duels, he lost one to a guy with 2 sticks. Musashi was a prodigy, and he was very, very much a student of knifing, which was what he was. If you read the book of Five Rings, on the first level, it's an advertisement. Why they suck and why I don't.
Well, I read it twice a year to enjoy myself.
Yeah, yeah. This is true. The thing is, I can guarantee you, I would take this bet. We could bring it back from the dead. And say, what did you train with first? What did you learn first? Did you do 2 from the beginning, or did you learn 1 and then learn the other?
Well, no, he started off with 1, but due to experience,
He went. Okay. It's like, you guys understand painting?
yeah.
All right. Picasso. You guys heard of Picasso? Cubism. Cubism is multiple views conglomerated together into one. Well, Picasso, before he did that, was an excellent realist painter. He could paint like you were looking at a person. It's called trompe l'oeil, fool the eye. He can do fool the eye. Then he decided to break the rules. Musashi, single. Hey, pretty good at this. I bet I can break this rule. Trying to think of some other examples. People who are unconventional in that. Bruce Lee. 3 to 5 years of Wing Chun under Yip Man. Learned it solid. Broke the rules. Made them work. You have to learn the basic vocabulary first. So like I said, if your single is strong, you'll have strong other stuff. And sometimes you won't need it.
That's another philosophy I've always get used with heavy combat as well is very, very strong basics will carry you through anything. You never really need an advanced technique if your basics are that sharp.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Turn of the century, Okinawa. Japanese emperor comes to visit Okinawa. He sees a demonstration of Okinawan karate. He goes, wow, that's pretty good. Of course, it can't be judo. Judo's Japanese. Karate couldn't be good. So the Budokan got together. Who do we send? Send Funakoshi. He's our best teacher. He's not our best fighter. He's the best teacher. And so the day comes, they set up this big tournament, and they get the judo champion and Funakoshi. And everyone's like thinking, this, Funakoshi is like, about yay high, 150 pounds maybe, soaking wet, carrying rocks. The other guy is a Yokozuna, who's a sumo, who does judo. So we get up to the line. Judge is there. Bam! Thud. Sumo's down. 1 shot. Simple, straightforward, reverse punch. Nothing fancy, no frills, no chills, no trailers, no weeping, wailing women. Just boom. It's over. Basic. Simple. A lot of times people go with advanced technique and it seems to muddle things up a bit, you know. You find yourself throwing this, that, the other thing, and the other just goes, doink. Hey, that's not, when I was doing this. Yeah, and I just went, doink. Problem? I was dumb. Then your problem's with you. Yeah. Defensive weapons forms. How to use those? Oh, boy, you would have that question.
I've got one.
Oh, good.
So
Good.
we've got 20 more minutes to go.
I thought we had 2 more hours.
No, for his class. For his class. Then it's mine.
Okay. I hate to say this as a Cloak aficionado. Cloak is one of my favorite things in all the world. Again, what I said with the profiling. It's club time. You know, and just pick them off. Or, as I said before, set it down. Now, the sneaky part of me says just grip it over your legs, but you know you can't really change your target area, and that would be kind of fighting your target area. But you can also, you know, keep your hand in reserve. Might make a nice pad. You never know, you might be able to throw it out, lock up with it, you know, do all sorts of stuff. Try not to blind yourself like I just did, et cetera, et cetera.
You're already down and not using your legs. What difference does it make if you're hiding your legs?
Courtesy. Courtesy. Some people might have a hairy bird.
Well, that, and if you've only been hitting one leg, you still have a good one. Which means you can still use it for mobility.
Yeah.
If you're hiding it and you're using it for mobility, that's not real fair.
Now, buckler, again, profile. There's 2 ways to do buckler. There's face on, edge on. You know, lock your vitals. Or plant the sucker over something real important. Okay, they're not going to get this. This little area right here, they're not going to, they'll get everything around it, but they're not going to get this. You know, it's the defensive form is legal. Again, profile, work with it that way. Bucklers, I assume you could probably do this. You know, hold on to it, put it on the floor, use it as your springboard, whatever. Bring it up when you need it. Answer?
You're giving comments. I'm asking a question.
Anything else?
I've got a question.
Yes.
Now, I live out here in the Bay of the Land, and so sometimes I'm back and forth between the east and mid realm and all over the place. And so sometimes my puddle metal brain gets slightly confused.
You stay that way, okay?
Yes.
What?
You stay that way.
It'll work.
Well, welcome to the rest of the world. Thank you.
Okay, this is the question. This is where a little bit of confusion comes in. I think it's a mid realm rule that you clarified for me. If you lose 2 arms, 2 an arm, a leg, 2 legs, or use 2 arms, you get.
Two limb rule?
Yeah, 2 limb. Is that mid realm?
That is an Eastern rule.
That's an Eastern rule.
That's an Eastern rule. It started out more as like a custom, but as the East Kingdom's program evolved, it become basically the 2 limb rule. You lose 2 limbs, fight's over.
What's the logic there?
You can't continue.
Well, the custom began with one of these things. They're trying to be all courteous, all this good stuff. So you kill 2. Okay, yeah, out of courtesy, the fight's going to be over because you wouldn't logically be able to continue. You wouldn't logically want to continue. As that evolved, it went away from this courtesy thing. You lose 2 limbs, you die.
Because Aethelmearc adopted that rule.
Oh no, we tossed that up. That was the first thing.
Oh, that's gone?
Yeah, because under that rule, 2 legs and you're done.
Yeah.
Because he was talking before about, you know, okay, you've got 1 leg, get the other one, okay, you've got the leg, the arm, and meanwhile, in the back of my mind is going, no, wait a minute, 2, and you're dead. How can we have all this?
In the East Kingdom, they still have the 2 limb rule. 2 limb rule. In AEthelmearc, I believe in active Darwinism. If
You want to keep trying it?
If you feel that one little scratch you got, if you feel that's enough to make you want to stop, fine. You're a Darwin. You get to go to the next round. But if you're thinking, okay, this guy's taking both legs, one arm, cut on this hand, and on my head, but I still think I can take him. Let's do the math on this.
Remember the brick wall I mentioned?
There's a friend of mine that has that same theory about armor. If you feel you want to fight in that on the battlefield, it's your body.
Would you mind getting hit by this? If the guy flinches, it doesn't pass.
Yeah. Okay, you have. I see you have nothing on your ribs. You want this? No. Okay.
But the two now, if you find yourself fighting in a two-limb kingdom,
There's only 1, 2, 3.
if you find yourself fighting in the east, it is a different ballgame, and you have to be a little more conservative. Maybe you put the bad leg over the good leg, tuck that arm back. Maybe you're not quite so aggressive at the beginning. You save that cookie for later. You obviously can't move the dead leg, but you can move the live leg underneath it.
So there is no problem with using dead limbs for shields.
Well, it depends on how you do it, okay? If say this leg gets killed, I crook.
And you tuck it, the bad leg over the good leg.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's legal.
That's fine. Now, if I get hit in the hand and I do this, that's a little cheesy.
Okay, but my question on that is because I don't know about fencing, but in heavy combat, if I get hit in, like for example, I get armed. Okay, if I get hit in that arm again, game over.
That's right.
Okay, because I just died because that arm isn't there anymore. Is that the same here? If I tuck the bad leg over the good leg, if I get hit in the bad leg again, does that mean the good leg is now as well?
It depends entirely on your stance. I have a slightly different ground game than Keyard, and a lot of that would fall down onto basically the judgment of the marshals. I would err on the side of being cautious on it.
Okay, well, the problem there being is usually the fights between the fighters. The marshals try to save back as much as they can.
Yes, but the marshals are also in charge. The marshal's primary thing is the safety thing and make sure the rules are followed.
Correct.
So if they see something as like breaking the rules or whatever, then they'll step in and they'll talk about it. Okay, you guys the fighters get to settle it, but it's like, okay, is this right? This? Okay, cool. You're cool with it, fine.
Okay.
That's right on the ragged edge.
Okay, that's what I'm asking of is, if it's legal, that's fine. How is it considered courtesy line?
I've never had a problem with it.
Most people we will accept it.
The problems that I've seen people have is when somebody loses their hand and they put their hand right in front of their
That's
face.
easy. It's easy to tell.
But then there are also the people that have the dead hand, and the dead hand gets pinned to their mask and they don't call it. Now, what I'll do is if I get thrust, if my legs are in this configuration right here, if I've got them crossed over, or if I've got them crossed over like this, if I get hit here, it's a pin. If I get hit down in, it's a pin.
Okay.
And usually it'll end up, if you staple my legs together, I've lost both legs working together anyway, so I know. Because that's the idea. Boom. If my hand gets stapled to a part of my body, if I'm blocking and say, wham, my hand gets pinned to my leg, both are gone.
Yeah.
Same with the mask. So you can make up for what could be seen as a breach of courtesy by covering up a target area with a limb, if you treat it with respect. There are some shots, like if I have a shot that comes here and skewers me in the tush, that's not guarding it. If I have somebody who pins, and when I say pin my arm, I mean pins my arm up against my body, pushes my arm into my body, I'm dead. There's no two ways about it. If my arm is here and they hit it, because the arm didn't come in. So it depends on how you treat it. It's your honor. You act accordingly.
I was speaking more from the slash point of view, but point. I'm glad you mentioned points because that would have been the following question afterwards. But how about how would it handle in a slash situation?
Well, with a slash, you gotta kind of think about that one. I mean, if a draw cut were strong enough to go through this leg and take out the one below it,
Right here.
that's pretty amazing. if a slash comes off of this leg and down into this one, that's a different story. With slashes, I would say go by what you feel. If you feel a slash on the dead leg, it's a slash on the dead leg no matter where it is. If you feel a slash off the dead leg into the good leg, it's still a slash off the dead leg and into the good leg. And you take it accordingly. Also, a courteous fighter, it depends on the person overall. If there's a pattern of ill behavior, anything you do will be seen as a detriment. If there's a pattern of good behavior, people will oftentimes understand. A lot of stuff can be made up. You can make up a lot of stuff by being nice. The Lord, you slashed my bad leg, did not slash my good leg. I don't think that your blow is enough to go through both legs. If you really need to get that technical, just say, cut the bad leg, dead leg, dead leg. The other thing is, I find that if you want to make friends, if you have a blow, if you have a cut that goes, across both pectorals and both arms, every once in a while call yourself dead because that's what you would be if you were really fighting. Rules be damned. You can take a blow as war. And, if you behave like a person with a list and not like someone who's grubbing for points, it goes a long way. I watched a tournament once where a guy fought with his dead hand in front of his face. He proceeded to gork everybody. He got pinned one. And everyone grumbled. Saw another guy, dead hand right here. Didn't block with it, blocked with the arm. And when the arm was called dead, nobody grumbled about that. Stopped a kill shot, but he bounded out, or he ducked the arm out. So it depends entirely on how you conduct yourself. That is entirely a personal issue. The rules are there to make the playing of the game proceed in an orderly fashion. What makes it excel is how people carry themselves. People carry themselves like children, they'll be treated like children. I got you. No, you didn't. I got you. I got a force field on. Oh, yeah? Well, I got a force field nullifier, and stuff like that. I mean, that's the level of some of the arguments I've seen. Anybody else have a question?
And where can I get a copy of the martial rules?
I have a copy of the martial rules, but I don't have the...
There is a website. They are on the website on campus.
I usually carry like 8 or 10 copies around my briefcase.
So I've got a copy outside of the martial fencing.
November 98? November 98 good?
No, it's not correct.
So you have
What?
If you have the law and policies issue of the Estelle, they're in there. They are on the website. They're in the AEthelmearc homepage. Huh? The very next one. I made a correction. It may change. Minor correction. So it's a minor.
What I just handed you?
Yes, except for like 3 minor corrections.
And
Which
those
are
are
vocabulary. That's it.
sometimes they can't wait.
Well,
May have seen in
well, okay. The 3 corrections were I changed 1 number, changed it 2 to 3. I changed it instead of referring to section 2.4, it's supposed to refer to section 2.5. I mean, those kind of corrections.
Because like for I know for heavy combat we had a really questionable one that I don't know whether it's been changed yet or not. I have to check into that. But like the thrusting tip, 1 inch of padding with give. Oh my, I hate to see that push to the whole
Okay,
unit.
yes.
It's like, okay, technically it has a give, not really, but yeah, I guess if you count it on it, give a little. That's all. They give a little. Now, I would much prefer 1 inch with progressive give.
Well, see, that was the other thing we had. Define progressive kids.
Yeah, then you get
Well, we solved that problem. Well, our problem with that was calibration. You have light touch, you have positive pressure. I don't care what term you use, I give you the definition. Whatever term you want, this is the definition. You can call it rhinophyte. I don't care. It's the definition.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, 5 minutes for it.
Why don't we take a break?
Yeah.
and come back?
Good plan.
Thank you.
That's
You're
right.
welcome. I hope it was helpful.